The scorching Texas sun beats down on the dusty frontier town of Redemption Creek, population 342. The year is 1878. Tumbleweeds roll past weathered storefronts as a young man dismounts his horse outside the saloon. James Cordell, 22, lean and weathered beyond his years, ties his mare to the hitching post. His clothes are simple but clean, a working rancher's garb. There's kindness in his eyes, but also the weight of responsibility. He pushes through the swinging doors. The saloon falls silent. 20 pairs of eyes turn toward James. At the back corner table sits Rake Donovan, 45, a cattle baron with silver-streaked hair and a cruel smile. His 5 men flank him, hardened gunslingers all. Bartender, nervously, "Whiskey, son?" James, "Just water, thank you." Laughter erupts from Donovan's table. "Rake Donovan, water." "Water. Boys, we got ourselves a teetotaler." James approaches the bar, ignoring them. The bartender slides him a glass with trembling hands. Rake Donovan, CONT'd. Standing. "You're that Cordell kid, ain't ya? The one squatting on that pitiful patch of land north of here?" James, turning calmly. "It's my land, Mr. Donovan. Legally purchased. My father's grave is on that soil. Rake Donovan, your father was a fool who paid triple what that rock pile was worth. And the apple didn't fall far from the tree." Donovan's men circle James slowly. The other patrons press against the walls, sensing violence. James the First didn't come here for trouble. "Just supplies and then I'll be gone." Rake Donovan, "Oh, but trouble found you anyway, boy." Donovan nods to his largest man, Bull McGraw, 6'4", 280 pounds of muscle and meanness. "Bull boss says you need a lesson in respect." Bull shoves James hard. He stumbles, but keeps his feet. "James, please. I don't want this." Rake Donovan, "That's the problem with your generation. No spine. Your daddy had spine. Stubborn, stupid spine, but spine nonetheless." Bull grabs James by the collar and lifts him off the ground. "Bull, time to fly, little bird." He hurls James through the saloon window. Glass shatters. James crashes into the dirt street outside. Townspeople scatter. James struggles to his feet, blood trickling from a cut above his eye. Donovan and his men swagger out. Rake Donovan still standing? "I'm almost impressed." James raises his fists. Bull laughs and charges. The beating is methodical and brutal. James tries to fight back, but he's outmatched. One young rancher against 6 seasoned fighters. They take turns. Fists. Boots. Humiliation. Snake Reynolds, Donovan's second-in-command, pulls James's head back by his hair. "Snake, you listening, boy? Mr. Donovan's made you a generous offer. $300 for your land." James, spitting blood. "Worth 10 times that?" Rake Donovan, "Not after we're done with it. See, unfortunate things happen to properties we want. Fires. Stampedes. Tragic accidents." He crouches beside James's broken form. Rake Donovan, CONT'd. "You got 1 week to accept our offer. Otherwise, you'll be joining your daddy in that dirt you love so much." Donovan stands and grinds his boot into James's hand. Bones crack. James screams. Rake Donovan, CONT'd. 1 week, boy. Think real hard. They mount their horses and ride off, laughing. The townspeople slowly emerge, but no one approaches James. Fear of Donovan runs deep. Finally, Sarah Chun, 25, the Chinese doctor's daughter, rushes forward with her medical bag. "Sarah, don't move. Let me see." James, barely conscious. "My ranch. They'll burn it." "Sarah, right now, you worry about surviving. Then we worry about tomorrow." James lies on a cot, bandaged and broken. 3 ribs cracked. Left hand shattered. Cuts and contusions everywhere. Dr. Chun works silently while Sarah assists. Dr. Chun, in Mandarin, subtitled, "This boy will heal." But his spirit? Sarah, in Mandarin, subtitled, "His spirit is stronger than his bones." James's eyes flutter open. "James, where?" "Sarah, you're safe. Rest now." James can't rest. Have to get home. Have to protect. He tries to rise and collapses. Sarah gently pushes him back. "Sarah, you can't protect anything dead. Sleep. Tomorrow we'll figure this out." But in James's fevered dreams, he sees his father's face. Hears his last words. This land means nothing if you don't have the courage to hold it. The sun rises blood-red over the modest ranch house. James stands on his porch, still bruised but mobile. His left hand is splinted. In his right, he holds his father's old Henry rifle. The land stretches before him, not much but honest earth. His father's grave marker stands beneath a cottonwood tree. 12 cattle graze in the distance. A small vegetable garden. A well. Home. Dust rises on the horizon. James counts. One rider becomes 5, becomes 10, becomes 50, becomes... His blood runs cold. An army approaches. Not Donovan's 6 men. Hundreds. On horseback, in wagons, on foot. They carry rifles, pitchforks, shotguns, axes. As they draw closer, James realizes something extraordinary. They're townspeople. Ranchers from neighboring spreads. Shopkeepers. Farmers. Old Civil War veterans. Mexican vaqueros from the Southern Territories. A group of freed slaves from the settlement east of town. Even the Kiowa tribe from the reservation, warriors in traditional dress, their faces painted for battle. And leading them all, riding side by side, Sarah Chun and Jacob Walking Bear, the Kiowa chief. James steps off his porch, bewildered. They form up before his property, 300 strong. Maybe more. Sarah, dismounting. You didn't think you'd face them alone, did you? James the first don't. I don't understand. Donovan, everyone's afraid of him. Jacob Walking Bear, his voice deep and weathered. Fear is a choice. So is courage. An old Confederate veteran, Colonel Augustus Shaw, rides forward. Colonel Shaw, boy, 30 years ago, your daddy pulled me from a burning wagon after Antietam. Didn't matter I wore gray and he wore blue. He saw a man who needed help. A Mexican rancher, Diego Martinez, speaks up. Diego, your father gave my family seed when drought took our crops. Never asked for repayment. One by one, they share stories. James's father had touched every life here. Alone when the bank refused. Standing up to night riders. Sharing water during the dry seasons. Small acts of decency that rippled outward. Sarah, your father taught this town what it means to stand for something. When they beat you in the street, everyone saw themselves lying in that dirt. And they were ashamed. Jacob Walking Bear, the Kiowa, remember when settlers first came with promises of peace. Then land theft followed. Your father kept his word about the water rights on the northern border. He honored treaties when others did not. James's eyes well with tears. James Donovan has professional gunmen. If you fight for me, people will die. Old Man Jenkins, the former slave, speaks from the crowd. Old Man Jenkins' son, some things are worth dying for. But more importantly, some things are worth living for. We're tired of letting men like Donovan tell us how to live. Sarah, we took a vote. 312 voted to stand. 0 voted to bow. Thunder of hooves. Donovan's army appears. Not 6 men now, but 60. He's hired every gun in 3 territories. They spread across the opposite ridge. A dark tide. Donovan rides forward with a white flag. James meets him halfway. Sarah and Jacob flanking him. Rake Donovan, well. The crippled pup found himself a pack. James, leave now, Donovan. This doesn't have to end in blood. Rake Donovan, surveying the crowd, shopkeepers and farmers, old men and savages. You think this rabble scares me? Jacob Walking Bear, we are not here to scare you. We are here to stop you. Rake Donovan, I got 60 trained killers. You got barely armed peasants. Do the math. Colonel Shaw, riding forward. Your 60 killers fight for pay. These 300 fight for home. I've seen both kinds of armies. I know which one wins. Donovan's confidence wavers slightly. He sees determination in these faces, the kind that doesn't break. Sarah, and it's not 300, Mr. Donovan. Look again. On the hills surrounding Donovan's position, more figures appear. Ranchers from distant territories. Townspeople from Redemption Creek and beyond. The telegraph Sarah sent has brought reinforcements. 500. 600. Still growing. James, you're outnumbered 10-1. And every person here knows why they're fighting. Can you say the same about your hired guns? Donovan looks back at his mercenaries. Some are already nervous, calculating odds. They didn't sign up for a war. Rake Donovan, this ain't over, boy. James, yes it is. Go back to your big ranch. Leave the small folks alone. Or next time, we won't ask you to leave. We'll make you. Tense silence. A wind blows across the prairie. Donovan's hand moves toward his gun. Every rifle on James's side raises simultaneously. The metallic sound of hundreds of hammers, cocking echoes across the valley. Donovan freezes. Snake Reynolds, whispering to Donovan, "Boss, this is suicide." Donovan's face reddens with rage, but he's beaten and he knows it. He can't win this. Even if he killed James, he'd never make it out alive. Rake Donovan, through gritted teeth. Your father was a fool. You're a bigger one. But fine. Keep your miserable patch of dirt. He yanks his horse around. His men follow, some with visible relief. The army of hired guns retreats over the ridge. A cheer erupts from the defenders. Hats fly in the air. People embrace. Jacob Walking Bear extends his hand to James. Jacob Walking Bear today. Different people became one people. James shakes his hand, then Sarah pulls him into an embrace. Sarah, you should probably know. I may have slightly exaggerated how many people voted to come. It was actually 310. 2 voted to send Donovan a strongly worded letter instead. James laughs through tears. James, who were the 2? Sarah, the Finch sisters. They're 80 years old and prefer diplomatic solutions. The crowd begins to disperse, but many linger. Colonel Shaw approaches. Colonel Shaw will camp nearby for a spell. Make sure Donovan understands the message is permanent. Diego and we're forming a coalition. Small ranchers and farmers. Strength in numbers. No more facing men like Donovan alone. Old Man Jenkins, what are we calling it? They look to James. James, my father used to say, a single tree can't stop the wind, but a forest stands forever. How about the Forest Alliance? Nods of approval ripple through the crowd. The last of the defenders ride off into the golden hour. Only Sarah remains, sitting beside James on his porch steps. Sarah, how's the hand? James, painful, but I'll heal. Sarah, your father would be proud. James the First didn't do anything. They did everything. Sarah, you stood up when it would have been easier to run. That's what started this. Sometimes courage isn't about being the strongest. It's about being willing to stand when standing seems impossible. They sit in comfortable silence, watching the sun paint the sky. James, Sarah, thank you for saving my life that day, for organizing all this, for Sarah, for doing what anyone should do. James, most people don't. Sarah, then maybe we should work on changing that. She stands, preparing to leave. James, would you like to stay for supper? It's just beans and cornbread, but... Sarah, smiling, I'd like that. Simple, but clean. James and Sarah eat by lantern light. Through the window, stars blanket the endless prairie sky. Sarah, what happens now? James, we build. The Forest Alliance grows. We look after each other. And if men like Donovan come again, they'll find we're ready. Sarah and us. James, meeting her eyes, I'd like there to be an us. If you would. Sarah, I'd like that too. Outside, beneath the cottonwood tree, James's father rests. The land he loved is protected. The son he raised has found his courage. And 300 people proved that when good folks stand together, no bully, no matter how powerful, can make them bow. The Forest Alliance grew to over 2,000 members across 3 territories. Rake Donovan's influence waned as small landholders united against corrupt cattle barons. James Cordell and Sarah Chin married in the spring of 1879. Together, they ran the Cordell Ranch for 53 years. The story of the stand at Cordell Ranch became legend, inspiring similar coalitions across the American West. James's father's grave remains beneath the cottonwood tree, where 4 generations of Cordells have returned to remember the man who taught them that honor and decency are worth fighting for. Some trees stand alone, but a forest stands forever.